She said she was too busy this year. Quarter-end reports, new clients flying in, dinner meetings booked out. Her voice on the phone sounded mechanical, rehearsed, like a voicemail she'd practiced a dozen times before hitting call. It was our anniversary, 12 years, and she couldn't spare one evening. Next weekend, she said, we'll do something nice. I promise. I said, of course. I understand. But I didn't. And I wasn't about to pretend otherwise. Because 2 weeks ago, I'd already seen the Hilton app notification flash across her iPad screen while she got dressed for the gym. A reservation in Midtown, King Suite, 3 nights, booked under her name. The kind of room you don't stay in alone. The kind of room you don't book if you're actually working late at the office on anniversary night. She didn't know I saw it. And I didn't ask. I just waited. I've learned the value of patience. Most people react. They blow up, scream, demand answers. And then they're the ones who look unstable when the truth finally comes out. I don't give anyone that out anymore. I let people show me who they are, and then I respond, quietly, completely. So when she told me she was slammed at work, I told her I'd cook dinner at home anyway. Something simple. I even asked if she wanted me to leave a plate out for her, just in case she got in late. She said, that's sweet. But don't wait up. I said, of course not. Then I ordered 2 dozen long-stemmed white roses, her favorite, and had them delivered to the Hilton Midtown, room 1904, under her name, with a note that read, Happy 12th, Claire. Wish you didn't have to spend it working. Love always, M. The concierge confirmed delivery at 6:42 p.m. At 7:10, I was parked across the street, watching the suite's window. Lights were on, curtains half drawn. At 7:24, a man answered the door. I recognized him immediately. His name was Roland Barrett, senior partner at her firm. Divorced, mid-50s, drives a black Porsche Cayenne with a vanity plate that reads Burt Wynn. He's the kind of guy who has a custom-tailored coat for every kind of weather. I'd shaken his hand once, briefly, at a company holiday party last December. He'd smiled too wide and asked if I was still doing consulting. Claire had changed the subject fast. I watched Roland take the flowers from the bellboy with a confused smile, then look back into the room and say something over his shoulder. A moment later, Claire appeared. Robe, bare legs, drink in hand. She laughed when she saw the card, then froze when she read it. I couldn't hear anything, but I saw everything. Her mouth formed my name. She turned toward the window. I leaned back in the driver's seat, out of sight. Roland looked puzzled. She looked panicked. She set the flowers on the table and grabbed her phone. Mine didn't ring. She tried again. Still nothing. I'd already turned it off. By 8:10, they left the hotel, separately. She took a cab. He walked down the block toward a steakhouse. That was the last I saw of either of them that night. When I got home, I opened the wine she gifted me 2 years ago, a vintage red she swore was for a special night. I watched our wedding video on mute and deleted the photos from our last trip to Lake Como. Then I opened the file I'd started 6 months earlier. Contingency, Claire. She wasn't cheating back then. Not that I knew of. But she'd already started lying. Small things, subtle shifts. The gym membership that doubled in price without explanation. The business dinners where her phone stayed on airplane mode. Her body was still next to me, but her mind was somewhere else. So I started documenting. Just in case. Every bank transfer, every time-stamped calendar entry, every Uber receipt forwarded to a private email address. I didn't confront her. I didn't even hint. I just watched, logged, and built the map of a life she thought she was living in secret. Now, I opened the folder and updated it with screenshots from the Hilton's booking confirmation, a zoomed-in photo of Roland at the door holding the roses, and a copy of the delivery confirmation from the concierge. Everything time-stamped. Verifiable. I wasn't interested in yelling matches or teary apologies. I was interested in control. And now I had it. She came home around 11:30 p.m. Her hair was still damp. Her eyes red, probably from crying. Or maybe just rehearsing her story. I was sitting at the kitchen counter, laptop closed, plate of untouched pasta in front of me. You're still up, she said, fake surprised. Yeah, I replied. Did the meeting go okay? She paused. It ran late. Sorry I missed dinner. No worries. I figured. She opened the fridge, pulled out a bottle of water, then leaned against the counter. You didn't do anything special, did you? I mean, since we agreed to postpone. I smiled. Just a quiet night. Thought about us. Watched a little TV. She nodded slowly. We'll celebrate properly next week. I'm looking forward to it. She smiled then, but her eyes searched mine like she was trying to find something beneath the surface. I let her look. I gave her nothing. By the time she fell asleep, I'd already scheduled a call with a private investigator for Monday morning. I didn't need more proof. I just wanted to know how long it had been going on. I wanted names, locations, dates, the kind of details you drop at just the right moment to make someone realize you were never in the dark. You were just waiting. Because there's a line between betrayal and exposure. And once you cross it, there's no going back. Monday morning, 9 a.m. Sharp, I stepped into a quiet office suite on the 18th floor of a building in Tribeca. The investigator's name was Charles Avery, recommended discreetly by a friend who'd been through something similar, a divorce that ended without a whisper but left the other party shattered. That was the kind of exit I was aiming for. Charles was ex-FBI, mid-60s, and all business. No handshakes, no small talk. Just a notepad, a recorder, and questions. Name, subject, suspected timeline, objectives? I gave him everything. Claire's full name, the hotel incident, Roland Barrett. I even handed him the folder I'd compiled, digital copies on a thumb drive, hard copies in a manila envelope. He skimmed the contents with a raised brow, then set it aside. You don't want to catch them in the act. You already did, he said. So what do you want? Every thread. How long? Who else? Anything she's hiding. Financial, legal, personal. He nodded. You want to own the fallout. Exactly. He promised a report within 10 days. I wired the retainer that afternoon. While Claire made smoothies and read her emails, I moved behind her like a shadow. No suspicion, no drama, just silence. She acted normal. Overcompensated, really. More affectionate, more talkative. She started suggesting date nights, leaving little sticky notes on the fridge like she used to in the early years. But her timing was off. Too eager. Too rehearsed. She wasn't reconnecting. She was covering her tracks. That Friday, I told her I had to fly to Chicago for a last-minute pitch meeting. She didn't even ask questions. Just nodded, kissed me goodbye, and told me to knock him dead. I stayed in town. I checked into a boutique hotel in Soho under a fake name and waited. Saturday, Charles texted. She's with him again. Same hotel. Room 2207. Got photos. Want them emailed? No. Deliver in person. Monday. Noon. I checked out early and went home. She was still out. Told me she'd gone to brunch with an old college friend. I didn't bother asking who. I didn't need to. Sunday, I made French toast. We ate in silence. She smiled a lot. Forced. I played the role of a man who didn't know. I cleaned the dishes, kissed her forehead, and went into my office to finalize the real paperwork. Monday came fast. At 11:45 a.m., I told Claire I had a meeting downstairs in our building's cafe. She didn't even look up from her laptop. I stepped into the elevator with Charles's envelope in hand and walked into the cafe. He was already there. Coffee, pressed shirt, manila folder resting on the table. Full breakdown, he said. It's not just Roland. I opened the folder. Inside were stills, logs, receipts. One name stood out. Noel Faulkner. A junior associate. 29. Married. There were hotel dates with him stretching back 6 months. Expense reports she filed claiming client meetings. During weekends, she told me she was seeing her sister. Photos of them at a spa in the Catskills. Surveillance stills from a cabin she claimed was a solo riding retreat. And then there were the withdrawals. A hidden bank account under her maiden name, opened 2 years ago. She was slowly moving money out. Small amounts. Disguised as vendor payments for her business. Clever. Legal, barely. She's planning to leave, Charles said plainly. She's just waiting until she has enough. He didn't have to say more. At 1:30 p.m., I walked back into our apartment, placed the folder on my desk, and made 2 calls. First, my attorney, James Roller, a quiet shark who specialized in high-asset separations. I scheduled a meeting for Wednesday. Second, Claire's assistant. Using a spoofed number and a disguised voice, I asked for Roland's calendar. Claimed to be confirming a lunch. She gave me everything. She didn't hesitate. Thursday, 12:15 p.m., lunch at the Dawson Club. Private booth. Perfect. I spent the next 2 days putting the pieces in place. Canceled the credit card she used for her business expenses. Locked the brokerage accounts. Moved our joint funds to a single-use trust. All legal. All quiet. On Thursday morning, Claire left the apartment in a navy suit I hadn't seen before. Perfume stronger than usual. Lipstick, tailored hair. I didn't comment. Just kissed her cheek and handed her a coffee. She smiled. Wish me luck. Big client today. Knock him dead, I said. At 12:10 p.m. I walked into the Dawson Club. Booth 9. They were already seated. Laughing. He touched her hand across the table. She leaned in. I waited until their food arrived. Then I walked over. Claire looked up first. Her expression crumbled faster than I expected. Mason, what are you doing here? I didn't answer her. I looked at Roland. I believe you got my flowers last week. He blinked. Then it clicked. He started. I wanted to put a face to the card, I said. Glad we finally met. Again. Claire stood. This isn't what you think. It's exactly what I think. I cut in. Enjoy your lunch. Then I slid a small, sealed envelope onto the table, addressed to Roland's firm's HR department. Proof of their relationship. Company expense fraud. Enough to make things uncomfortable. Her face drained. Roland reached for the envelope, and I turned without another word. Control isn't loud. It's the moment they realize you were always 10 steps ahead. That night, Claire didn't come home. No text. No call. Nothing. I didn't reach out either. I knew where she was, probably curled up in Roland's condo, weighing her options, trying to figure out if there was any angle left where she walked away clean. She was smart, but not strategic. That's where people like her always fall short. They move in the moment, emotion first, damage later. I move with intent. Always have. By morning, my attorney had the draft separation agreement ready. No alimony. No claims on my business. Minimal cash settlement. Barely enough for first and last month's rent in Manhattan. She could keep the car. That was it. The terms were delivered to her office by 9 a.m. in a sealed envelope marked private. I knew she'd open it immediately, and I knew what would follow. Silence, then outrage, then the real moment of reckoning. At 2:43 p.m., my phone rang. Her number. I let it go to voicemail. She left a message. I don't know what you think you're doing, but this is insane. You're being cruel. Can we talk? Please. I deleted it. By 5 o'clock, she was at the apartment. I heard the key turn, the door swing open. Her heels across the hardwood. Purposeful, angry. I was sitting in the living room, reading. Calm. Waiting. She threw the folder on the table. You really think this is how you end 12 years? No, I said. You ended them. I'm just drawing the line where you crossed it. I made mistakes, Mason. No, I said louder. You made decisions. Calculated ones. You didn't trip and fall into hotel beds. You booked them. You planned it all. Don't insult both of us by calling it a mistake. Her mouth opened, then closed. I continued. You moved money. Lied about work. Gaslit me. And when you weren't screwing Roland, you were with Noel. Or should we talk about the Catskills weekend with the spa invoice billed to your business card? She sat down, slowly. I wasn't planning to leave. Not really. That part one believe, I said. You were going to bleed me until it wasn't worth the risk anymore. Then disappear. Tears welled up in her eyes. You were distant. You were always working. I felt alone. You could have said that. You could have walked away clean. But you didn't. She didn't deny it. Couldn't. I didn't want it to end like this, she whispered. Neither did I. But I'm not staying in a life where I'm constantly being prepared for disposal. You made that bed, Claire. Now I'm giving you the legal version of it. I'll fight this. I smiled. You can try, but everything I have is documented. Every dollar moved. Every night away. Even Roland's expense fraud. His firm will bury him to avoid a scandal. You won't win. You'll just bleed longer. She stared at me, like she didn't recognize who I was anymore. And maybe she didn't. Because the man she married, the man who adored her, trusted her, defended her, he was dead. Died somewhere between the first lie and the last laugh she shared in that hotel room. Now there was only this version. Still calm. Still kind, on the surface. But forged in betrayal. Tempered by silence. 3 days later, she signed the agreement. No court. No drama. Just a quiet, mutual dissolution filed under irreconcilable differences. I sent copies to her attorney, confirmed asset transfers, and called the locksmith that afternoon. By the following week, she was gone. I didn't speak to her again. Didn't reply to the messages. Didn't acknowledge the one drunken call at 2:17 a.m. begging to talk, just for a minute. She became a ghost before she realized she was dead to me. As for Roland, he stepped away from the firm within a month. Early retirement. No farewell post. No party. Noel's wife left him. Filed for custody. His LinkedIn disappeared soon after. I watched it all unfold from a distance. Not with satisfaction. Not even with bitterness. Just clarity. You don't have to destroy someone to win. You just have to remove yourself from their reach and let the truth do the rest. My new apartment overlooked the river. Clean, minimalist, silent. A place where nothing reminded me of her. No framed wedding photos. No echo of perfume in the closet. People ask if I'll start over. Maybe. Maybe not. What I know is this. I didn't lose a wife. I lost a threat disguised as a partner. And I survived. Because I didn't react. I calculated. Because I didn't beg. I planned. Because I didn't fall apart. I moved on. And in doing so, I proved something she never understood. Love can end. But control? Control is forever.